Hey, what's everyone? On this edition of the Kaiju Commentary, we're leaving Japanese shores and heading to jolly old England where we watch 1961's Gorgo. Now, when you see the MGM logo appear on your screen, that is your cue to start listening to us. So we're going to kick things off in 3, 2, 1. Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of the Kaiju Commentary. Today we are watching 1961's Gorgo. And this is the yeah, that was nice. The first non-Japanese kaiju film that we're going to be doing on our series. Although, interestingly enough, when they were first kind of developing the script, the film was supposed to take place in Japan.
Was it really?
Yeah, and then they went through a few changes and rewrites and ultimately ended up on the other side of the world's other big ocean. So, there we have it. Gorgo. So for those of you who hate reading subtitles...
Lucky
You're welcome.
you.
I loved this film as a kid. In a lot of ways, it has this film has a much more eco-friendly message. I think it's more about our respecting nature, and the kaiju in this film are, rather than being representative more of kind of like a natural disaster or almost a deity-like force like we saw in Mothra. They're kind of more reminiscent of like real animals and maybe kind of our treatment of animals and how we kind of exploit the natural world. I mean, they're kind of basically big, souped-up animals, but still kind of representative of that. So it's kind of interesting. It's a little bit of a different metaphor. It's kind of basically, humanity needing to learn necessarily not to exploit the natural world, but we'll dive into that as the film progresses.
Yeah.
For now, enjoy white people in a kaiju movie.
Wow.
Not that I'm being racist. I'm just saying it's just funny because again, now we look back on these movies and these films have since been made all over the world: Japan, Europe, America, South Korea, North Korea.
Yeah.
But when this film came out, for people who have been kind of familiar with giant monster movies, it's kind of a strange sight to see now, a bunch of white people, because, these films haven't been made in the West, really. Make a snapper, will you? Ugh, swagger. These guys are like checking that shit out. Look at them. They're like, I don't know about this one, fellas.
What's that mysterious bubbling? I don't know, but let's go find out.
I know, right? Hey, that doesn't look ominous at all. Let's send a
about
dude
that.
down there. Seriously, I love how these guys are just hanging out. Like they're like deckhands. Shouldn't they be like
Working.
something
Manning
like
the
hoisting sails or a mast or a vart, you land lovers, or I don't know, whatever.
Swabbing the poop deck.
Yeah, that too. That too. That's important. You gotta make sure you swap poop on the deck. It's kind of funny. It's like you see like this volcano or whatever rising up out of the ocean. Yeah, well, that escalated quickly.
That's why you don't stand around.
I saw a YouTube video from like 2014 or something like that, or 2015, of this actually happening.
Oh my god, really?
Of a ship. It was like I think it was like in the South Pacific. I'm not sure, where it looked like a sandbar in the ocean, but it was actually like sulfur or whatever, and they were like going through it. So they just put the boat through it. And then they kind of looked back and they saw like rock and mass coming out of the ocean and they started erupting.
I remember
so there was literally a volcano rising underneath them. So what I'm trying to tell you people is
when
that
you're boating, watch out.
Gorgo is real. This story based on true events that have yet to happen. Should point out too, you'll notice that this film has a, you can tell it has a fairly impressive production budget. I mean, obviously the effects are very much dated by today's standards, but if you compare it to other films of that era, even other kaiju films of that era, you'll see that it really it holds up.
Yeah.
We just watched obviously Mothra, and for that film had a very decent production budget. It was a good looking film, and you can tell it was definitely kind of a more high priority film for Toho. So when you watch that film kind of next to this one, you can see that this film was not just a little throwaway title, but it was in fact kind of a big deal release. Which I think was important too, especially since it's kind of, in a lot of ways, kind of the first proper Western kaiju film. I mean, I know you have films like the Giant Behemoth and even the Beast from 20,000 Fathoms, but I feel this is the first kind of proper kaiju film in the West. And it's also utilizing tokusatsu effects. It's pseudomation. Gorgo is not interestingly enough, it's not stop motion. Or miniature Gorgo is, in fact, actor in a suit. And when you see Gorgo's design, you realize that the suit is a big fake rubber fish floating on the water? I understand.
Yeah.
But
let's touch it. That's a good idea. No, I'm contaminated. He just wipes his hand on the other eye.
And here we have an island of not primitive people, but very much old-fashioned. And again, this is kind of a callback to... Yeah, fuck your niche too, homie. But again, obviously in Mothra, we saw they had Infant Island, Gojira. They had was it Odo Island, where again, probably in terms of technology and sophistication, a match of this, which is obviously again a callback to Kong and Skull Island. So it's even in the West, there's still, which makes sense as Kong was a Western film.
Yeah. But
they're still utilizing kind of this visual of an island.
I said come in, not snoop through our stuff.
I know. Growing till it's closed, are we, kid?
That's not sketchy.
Yeah, we're going to be a little bit more specific than that. I feel like a whole sweatshop back there.
Oh my god.
Bunch of women in bras and panties chopping cocaine.
Like that?
That's what I'm saying. That's like he's growing into him. See, the kid's smart. He's very forward thinking. He's planning ahead.
I'm all for that.
A lot of things, actually.
Let's touch it with our bare hands. That's a good idea.
I don't think it's a Viking sword. It's like a claymore. Vikings didn't have a...
No. I don't know.
Get the fuck out of here. Go sew me a sweater. Oh, really? Looks like he's trying to eat half his own face. And why is he sticking his gut that far out?
I don't know. I think it's just his jacket doesn't fit properly.
Yeah, so again, if you look at this island and then you look at like said the island in Gojira, again, it's very much the aesthetics are different in the sense that one is very Western looking, kind of classic European kind
But
of
they
look.
both kind of serve the same function.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Whereas, like you look at the one in Gojira, has a very kind of rural Japanese feel, but they're essentially the equivalents of one another. One's east, one's west, but technology wise, they're about the same level. They're like it's a fishing village, just like in Gojira. So, it's not really a shock that this film is obviously well, like most kaiju films since Gojira is very much influenced by that film, and it's very much, if you look in a lot of ways, kind of a retelling of it in the beginning half of it, in the sense that it's kind of playing out in a very similar way.
Yeah. That boat's kind of weird.
Something about sauciness and sausages. I don't know.
It's weird that some of the shots are composite and some of them are.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm wondering if that maybe had anything to do with like maybe it's kind of like a either like a second unit kind of thing, or maybe they're like reshoots.
Yeah.
Where they're looking, or maybe when they did the shots on the day, they didn't come out well, or something didn't work.
Yeah.
So they had to kind of just reshoot them. Like, I know it is interesting though.
Mm-hmm.
Also, location shooting is more expensive. I mean,
Yeah.
you can just composite someone into a shot. It's easier. Like right here, this is a composite shot.
Yeah.
And again, you can tell, but it's done very well. I mean, again, for the time, 1961.
Using blue screen.
Yeah, I mean, this is pretty impressive. Like this is a very.
Yeah, it's just that little bit of edge you can see.
Yeah. It is kind of interesting too. You can already see a bit of a different Western aesthetic, where, or kind of the approach where these characters, they're confronted by a situation like this, and their first instinct, let's go check it out. There's more of an adventurous kind of feel to it. Whereas in Japan, like when the fishermen came in contact with Godzilla, they were exposed. They were attacked. People's first instinct was not, let's go jump in the ocean and find him.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, and again, Japan is kind of approaching it from a very kind of
safety first.
Yeah, defensive position. Whereas in the West, I mean, again, you have to remember these films came out in post World War II Japan, and Japan, was a conquered nation, so they kind of learned the value of respecting maybe a power that was more powerful than them, or being cautious, and maybe again not just jumping into a situation that might result in an altercation that might get away from them. Again, not trying to get political, but you see their characters kind of exercising a bit more. Whoa.
Hey guys, just going for a swim.
Shoo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo.
This music.
But whereas here, it's like obviously the West won, so it kind of has an attitude of like yeah, let's go check it out, let's go get it. You know what I mean? Let's
I need to smoke.
I know. Yeah, you sure look distraught, bud. I don't know. It's just kind of an interesting kind of social, geopolitical observation. I mean, maybe not the most interesting thing to listen to on a commentary track, but again, especially again coming off the heels of several Japanese films already, you're already seeing a difference in kind of the characters and the way they're approaching these situations. There's kind of less caution and more curiosity. I don't know. It always struck me when I was a kid too. And I used to watch this movie because I used to like break my VCR watching this movie over and over again. A heathen lie. Oh, those are the bad ones. We used to rent this from Blockbuster Video. For all you old timers out there, you know what I'm talking about. For all you millennials, Google that shit. That's how we used to watch movies in the early days. You're also going to see better use of a night shooting, whereas and not just in Japan, but even Western films, a lot of times they would have to do a lot of day for night stuff.
Yeah.
And this film actually does pretty good of shooting stuff actually at night and lighting it very well.
Yeah.
Which again, back then, would have not been cheap to do. So little things like that maybe when you watch this film now and you take it for granted because it's like, oh, okay, well, they shoot at night because the scene takes place at night. Back then, that was not the easiest thing to do, to shoot a scene at night. The sooner the better. You son of a bitch. Yeah, if I even got a glimpse of what those guys saw, I would not let these people be out of the water.
Especially at night, when you can't tell. Like, at least before you could kind of see underwater.
Want to know what a bad idea looks like?
Yeah.
You're going to see it right
also,
now.
Also, that torch is insane.
Yeah, like, that was a good shot.
Rude. Oh, Jesus.
Fuck your couch. Look at him. Huh. Ain't that a bitch?
Lighting sounds.
Yep. Oh, it's like Gorgo looks so frightening. And I love how they frame him here because he's dark shadowed and has this glowing red eye. He looks so scary.
Yeah.
And interesting too, look at his eyes. They're big. Mm-hmm. I love his design. I love how big his hands are. He's basically got bear paws.
Yeah. I mean, he's actually really disproportionate, but...
But at the same time, if you think of this as kind of a transitional species that's supposed to be in the water, it's just it's almost like he's got big paddle hands. Mm-hmm. For swimming, it actually works really well. He's actually more believable as a water creature than, for instance, Godzilla. If you look at Godzilla,
he kind of looks like a weird water sloth in a way.
Well, that's the thing.
Have really long arms.
Well, that's what I mean. If you look at him, it's such a cool design, and they gave him digigrade legs, which is interesting because obviously for suit acting, that's a lot harder to do.
Yeah. Because
you're working against.
They actually look good though.
Well, yeah, you're working against the anatomy, and if you look at it too, Gorgo's legs,
that kid's like, I ain't afraid of this.
I want to see him just smack him with a burning wood, like, get the fuck off me.
I'm just like, yeah, they threw harpoons at it. Do you think that's gonna help? Eat up. Get your fiber.
I don't know, if you look at Gorgo's kind of like musculature, he's more designed like, where I think, I mean, now Godzilla's design has kind of become synonymous, and it's kind of stand up. But initially, he's so bulky because it was kind of just to keep the suit stabilized. So for Gorgo to have more of a slender body like that, it requires more kind of stability in the suit. Yeah. So Gorgo's design, the suit.
But at the same time, when you look at his head and neck, they're a lot like shorter and thicker.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Gorgo looks like he's kind of has more of a. Again, this is an animal that can probably has a big, heavy upper body.
Walking his way out. Screw this.
Okay, but it looks like Gorgo kind of moves more almost by. You can see one of the four wires attached to the. But again, it's like Gorgo looks like he can kind of pull himself through the water with like his upper body, whereas Godzilla is more bottom heavy. Like he's got huge legs.
He's got a big booty.
Yeah, he does. Big, thick tail, and he can.
These guys are just like unfazed by, yeah, you know what I mean.
Look, everyone speaks English now.
I know. Now if they need something.
Yeah. That's usually how it works.
Yeah.
Go to Smash. What the hell does that mean?
I don't know.
Guy's got some blue eyes, man. Look at him.
I was gonna say those guys are also really confident. Kind of like, did you see that thing last
Well,
night?
again, that's my whole point too. Again, it seems like too in a lot of the Japanese films. Not that I'm trying to keep comparing these, but it's unavoidable because again, this is kind of new in this point in history. So you still have to kind of refer back to a lot of basically Toho because again, they're the ones who kind of basically built this genre up to this point and kind of designed these. Yeah, I know, right? Oh, I don't know about that.
Just gotta find the
I don't
right
think
buyer.
gold is priceless. I think gold very much has a price. Yeah.
Seriously, super cocky.
And again, that's my point. It's very interesting where it's like, it seems like at this point there'd be a lot of people who would be...
afraid of any giant monster.
Yeah. There'd be people trying to maybe, like, there's usually at this point someone trying to understand these animals more. Again, these guys are... I feel like, again, you've seen in Godzilla films, or even in Mothra, when you have people who try to profit off it, and it feels like in the Japanese films, these kinds of characters would actually be more the villains. The cocky, swaggery, we want to just make... I mean, you saw how it was in Mothra, right? I mean, granted, these guys are going to kind of get a bit of redemption, but still, starting off this way, in a Toho film, these guys would be your bad guys. We've seen our heroes. They're scientists.
Dynamite.
They're the reporters. These guys are kind of thrill seekers and treasure hunters. These would be the villains. But in Western culture, we kind of like
No, they're daredevils. They're so cool.
Well, yeah, it's that kind of
Risk-takers.
it's kind of the Robin Hood thing a little bit. There's adventure, it's. That's why we like heist movies, movies how to rob a bank. When in actuality, these people are stealing people's money. That's your and my money they're stealing. We should be rooting for these guys
Oh my god. Get in this giant metal urn, essentially. That's just, oh my god, that'd be terrifying. If it snaps, oh well, sorry.
I know.
Oh, nightmare.
Ouch!
And I'm like, it doesn't even pressure seal. It's just like, how does that not leak? Yikes.
I know it is interesting that you just saw that thing.
I know.
Yeah, let's go down there.
It's gonna be like a giant cat toy just dangling it down.
Essentially. Down. Those water shots are done really well. I remember watching this thing as a kid thinking, you would not get my ass in that thing.
Nope.
Be like, hell no. That'll do, big. That'll do.
So what is he hoping to do with this? I guess is my question.
Well, and again, that's kind of, I don't know if it's
I guess if you could find it, but what are you going to do then?
I mean, you'll see. Even though even when I watched this as a kid, I was still kind of like, surely
That's not how this works.
There's a better way to go about this.
Hey, wow, they found him so fast.
I think you kind of want to lose him, actually.
I know.
There's your cat toy.
Yep. I just want a hug.
I was saying before with the eyes, it's like usually you look at Godzilla and all those movies, the earlier films, and then the stuff in the Heisei and Millennium stuff. Usually when they want to make a monster look scary, you give them smaller eyes. it gives them more of a detached look. And usually when you want something to be more kind of friendly or cute or likable, you give them kind of larger eyes. It gives them more of a sympathetic look. I always thought Gorgo's design was really interesting because he's got these really big eyes. They're big, but they're terrifying. And I think it's because they give them they glow red. I think if they have just been kind of, white with a black pupil, he would come across as a lot friendlier looking. Yeah. But because they kind of glow red, he almost looks like nightmare fuel. Mm-hmm. Especially when you see him in like low light. Yeah, with a net. I'm like, a
regular rope net.
I don't think that would be able to haul him up.
Nope.
I'm like, how the hell strong is that winch?
How strong is that rope where his giant talons don't claw?
How is it he's not strong enough to get out of that?
I know. I was like, oh no, rope, my kryptonite.
I don't know. Even as a kid, I was like, I don't know about that, guys. I don't think that would have worked.
That's why in King Kong they never show you how they get him on the boat.
They never show you. Even Peter Jackson's movie, like, which was the more...
Don't worry about it, guys. Suspend your disbelief. Nara Island.
Which is in a lot of still very much like Gojo talking about where they live down deep from a prehistoric era, kind of cut off from the rest of the world.
Look at that guy's ringlets, or was that a woman?
That was a woman.
Well, she had amazing hair, regardless. So could have been a guy. So that's like a big puppet or whatever they made, right?
Yeah, it's a big practical effect right there. Which cool, again, that's my point. Look how they built essentially a part of a life-size Gorgo. Again, you don't just do that on cheap.
No. These two assholes just caught so easily. Just caught the giant monster.
No. It's an interesting thing too. I feel like in the Japanese film, there's your two leads right there, the scientists. I mean, because again, but in the West, it kind of seems like we make fun a little bit of the eggheads. You kind of like, oh, they're the scientists. Again, I'm not bashing on this film, and to be fair, it is kind of interesting to switch it up a little bit too. I do kind of like how. Again, they're picking kind of greed over, kind of pursuit of knowledge.
Well, and it's funny because in a lot of the Godzilla films, the monster's always kind of pitied. You know what I mean? Like, it's not just a big dumb monster. It's not just, it's destroying, but it's always kind of like, And
they'll do that with Gorgo in this film, but it's not started off that way.
Yeah.
It starts it off as just a big dumb monster. And it's through the course of the film that you'll kind of start to sympathize with them because you'll kind of realize that the guys are,
kind of assholes.
Yeah, and they kind of have to go through a change too. So it's interesting because it's showing you a different dichotomy of people. Yeah. It's not just the same. And again, while you could argue that's just more of an aesthetic of West versus East. Mm. It is interesting. It kind of, expands upon what these movies can be and what these movies can be like. And so it's not all just the same. And I guess also, too, you can't help but be in the shadow of Godzilla and Toho. Oh, you're just trying to punch that kid in the face, by the way.
I know.
But I think it makes this film stand out. Especially...
Call him a nuthead.
Well, isn't he a nuthead? Wash his face with a fist.
Jesus.
He's like, yeah, actually I would. Can you put me on the payroll? Where?
I know, to the front of the boat.
I know. I'm pretty sure isn't this thing like as long as the boat almost?
Just run in place. Oh, okay.
He starts playing that like you ask me a question, I ask you a question game that Hannibal Lecter did in Silence of the Lambs.
Jesus.
Go back to sleep. I wasn't asleep to begin with.
I know. He punches him. Oh, that's what you meant.
Just want to wash your face, kid.
That yell. What is he saying?
The net, the ropes. He looks about ready to cry.
I don't know. I'd probably cry if I was dealing with that.
Gorgo washed his face for him. Actually, sir, I'm going up.
I know.
Jolly
Happy
old
music.
England.
It's weird that they composited that little rope thing in front.
And Brandon, I think it's saves money of having to go to all these different locations.
But it's like, why did you need that in the front of the marching band?
Because it's very important.
Dorkins! I forgot that was the name.
Yep.
Dorkins! Oh, that guy's mustache. It's our third eyebrow.
Yeah. You better do that. Better do that now, bro. Look at his face, like, oh, shit, alright. Fuck's their problem.
Dorkins!
And again, I love how they did like a big full-scale model. It's just really cool.
Yeah.
And that's right there in Piccadilly Circus. 10 million years ago? I guess that they still got a longer amount of time than they did in Godzilla. It's like, nope. At this point, it would have been 65.
Good golly!
It must have been such a cool day on set filming that.
I know.
See, look how the eyes open too and the glow. It's just really cool.
The only thing that sucks is, of course, when they they have his face like resting on the bags like that. I wish they could have kind of elongated the neck almost, so his head could have rested down. You know?
Well,
But
but I'm just saying. I think they kind of built it more as a big.
No, I know. It's still really cool looking.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Considering how they did this. It's funny. They were actually there was talk of doing a Gorgo remake with
Was there really?
Yep, Simon Pegg and
Oh my gosh, Nick Frost.
Well, I don't know if Nick Frost would have been in it, but Simon Pegg and what's his name? The guy who directed like Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, Space.
Oh, I forgot. Oh, what's his name?
He was gonna write and direct Ant-Man. Hang on, I'm gonna look this up right now, folks, because I'm very curious. Let's see.
Curious and dedicated.
Fancy pack.
Except...
I know, I was always wondering. Edgar Wright. So yeah, there originally, I guess, talks of doing a Gorgo remake, and I guess they just, like so many things in Hollywood, never came to pass. But I've always thought that would have been. I've always wanted to see a remake of Gorgo.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they can, if they do, they can get him into the MonsterVerse from Legendary.
Yeah, right.
That would be kind of interesting. Now, what a great way to bring him back. I mean, his whole premise fits right into the whole MonsterVerse, saying a prehistoric creature that was living under the ocean.
My job's important. I'm supervising.
That's how he makes the big bucks.
I like how the kid actually has clothes that fit.
Maybe he just finally grew into them.
We need wire cutters for this rope.
Some heavy duty rope. Better be some heavy duty rope.
I don't know. Unless it's like rope around cable.
It might be.
Good morning. Well, I got my shop.
I know, right?
Y'all. Wah, wah.
I think Gorgo's roar is an elephant.
Mm-hmm. With some tiger growls.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like an elephant.
Yeah, I like the way they did his legs. It's really impressive for the suit. Yeah, his eyes look so cool. And here's how the great ADR actors who brought his voice to life.
I know.
They got a cameo in the movie. Yeah, I would love to see like an updated Gorgo.
Yeah.
Little ears twitch.
Mm-hmm. Poor thing.
I know. That's the thing. You can't help but feel bad about it. So later on, when everything goes wrong, you really kind of feel like, yeah, they brought it on themselves.
I'm just like...
His suit, the way the suit is designed a little bit.
That look away.
Like,
So dramatic.
I must not look. It was a good composite shot, though.
Yeah. Dorkins. Every time.
Gotta love that Dorkin. But no, I like how the film is already setting up, the cost of, what it means to do, to kind of try to contain this animal. It's already just, people are losing their life. It's like, is it worth the money? Like, can you put, it's, kind of the whole concept, can you put a price on people's heads, so to speak?
Some people can.
Well, yeah, and it's kind of forcing these characters to kind of make a decision. They're going to have to come to terms, like, there's blood there's already blood on their hands. I mean, ultimately, I don't think it really mattered where they took the animal. They should have just left it alone. And that's kind of the ultimate moral of the story, is just, leave it the fuck alone.
Yeah. leave the children very instructive.
No, bring the children. Very instructive.
So do they actually keep him wet here?
Yeah, he's got like a little... It's like he's dancing right there.
Poor guy.
Even though it looks like he could very easily
Oh, yeah.
climb right out of there. And I know he's got the electric fences there, but I'm still like... I mean, I kind of figure... It's interesting too because it kind of feels like here a little bit of like what they were maybe planning to do with like King Kong had they succeeded, because it's kind of like King Kong in the sense where they bring the monster back to civilization
To be gawked at.
yeah, but instead of the monster breaking loose and running amok, it kind of works. They got him
At first, yeah.
yeah. And obviously if you can contain the beast, if you can scare the beast, if you can keep it at bay, how is it going to be a problem later on? And that's when this film will kind of do an interesting bait and switch, where you'll see it pretty soon. So if you're not familiar with it, you're like, okay, well, and that's the thing too. Gorgo's big, but he's not that big. He's 65
I'm
feet.
just like, how do you feed something like that?
But here's the thing. You're looking at Gorgo right now. I'm like, does Gorgo qualify as a kaiju? He's only 65 feet tall. So if you're familiar with these films, you're kind of thinking, well, does Gorgo really fit the bill? He was captured. He's not super big. He's being kept at bay by conventional means. Why is this movie on the kaiju commentary? Well, you'll find out.
Your answer will be answered soon.
Yeah, it will. Because right now, Gorgo doesn't really fit the bill of a kaiju. He's big, but he's still not, like, big enough. We just drank, so let's go do some driving.
I know.
That always makes it more interesting. That's a nice car. That's a big ass book.
I was just gonna say.
Oh, look at that book. It's like, wow.
That is what adolescent means.
Well, I don't know. You ever hear of a latchkey kid? And there's your answer. Why this is a kaiju movie. Peppa?
Oh, poor thing.
I know. But again, it's really impressive how they match the miniature set with the actor in it. With when you see like the shots of the actual people, like it's again this film. There's a lot of good compositing. Kind of like those. It reminds me of the horse fences we used to have around my grandparents' place in France. Where they would get, and a few times I would make the mistake of leaning on them or grabbing one, forgetting, and then the current would travel through. And if you got it, ooh, there we go. Just zap my hand. It happened to me more than a few times.
Do you ever do it where you get a couple of people and you like hold hands and then one person grabs it and it goes through all of you?
No.
Well, it does that.
Well, it does good. Science.
It's Interesting. I was gonna say fun, but that's not really the right word for it.
And you see how big Mama.
Yep.
Now, one thing I was always curious here, and I wasn't sure. I was always trying to look. I'm fairly certain this is the same suit. It's just you put it with smaller miniatures.
Yeah.
Because I was wondering about because when you first see that shot, that it almost looks a little different. But I think it's the lighting and the angle and how they shoot it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the same suit. Well, perhaps you should watch the sass, dude.
Maybe he doesn't have 5 shillings.
Yeah, I know.
Why did you wait till 3 days to tell us?
Is there really any communication between our island? I didn't get the sense that it was a high priority to anyone. Now we're starting to see some familiar kaiju aesthetics here. Aircraft, carriers, military. There we go. Getting a lot of good stock footage.
Mm-hmm. I guess my question is, why did Mama Gorgo wait so long?
I mean, I don't know. You could always
For
argue.
the suspense.
Yeah, I mean, they were kind of released from like an underground cavern, so you might be able to argue that they were separated, or like the baby kind of wandered out or swam away, kind of basically got away from her. Because it's probably like vast underground caverns, I would imagine, and he just.
Yeah.
It's funny. I had heard they had to add in this whole sequence with Gorgo, the mother in the web with the battleships, because the original wasn't in it, but they wanted to kind of make it more like Godzilla.
Oh,
So they added this kind of sea battle. They wanted to kind of initially play it more again like big animal, just kind of thing. But they felt okay. They needed to have your classic. Kaiju versus the military sequence.
Yeah.
And obviously this right here makes it feel a lot more like a Godzilla movie and just a Kaiju film.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously you wouldn't really use the military for just an animal. But at the same time, she is like 200 feet tall. So it's kind of like, well, what else are you going to really use?
Yeah. So where was this all shot here? Is this all London?
I mean, I know it takes place in London. I'm not sure if it was actually shot on location in London or... I'm pretty sure. I think it definitely was England. It's a hell of a war room.
I know.
I do kind of like how they're keeping the scientists there. Get a little bit of an I told you so.
Mm-hmm.
Why is Dorkin there?
Because he's Dorkin.
Like, you kind of thought by now the military would just kind of seize control of Gorgo and just be like, and why is Dorkin in the damn war room?
Here's Mama! Hey, where's my baby at?
We used that shot in the Kaiju Cataclysm opening.
Yeah.
Boom.
Fuck this boat.
Oh, that's
The way
awkward.
he said it is weird. Capsized. Terrible. Terrible. That's a good idea, certainly.
Is there? And again, it's interesting how you're seeing kind of more of a lack of reverence and respect. Because even with the military in like a Godzilla film, yes, they're obviously trying to stop him and trying to save people, but you can tell there's like a sense of awe with them. There's a sense of like they can't help it. Whereas here, it's like it's just a big animal, and the military's like, yeah, we'll get him. You know what I mean? It's kind of like I don't know, like they're still not seeing these things as what they are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're not getting it. There's no respect really. Whereas again, in a Japanese film,
So
feels
here's my thing. Sorry. Finish your
yeah,
thought
yeah. You really should be sorry. That was some profound shit I was laying on you right now.
That
That punch.
throat punch.
Throat.
Well, I was gonna say, so like I understand, like he wants to release him, but I'm like, dude, you can't just literally let him go in the middle of the fucking city.
Well, he's drunk, so that's
Well,
kind of.
Still, I'm like, even drunk, couldn't you at least think that much? Like,
Oh, I don't know. I've been drinking with some characters in my day, where you kind of wonder, like, huh?
is there anything?
Maybe you shouldn't. It's kind of could save your own life by not drinking. He kind of looks like Conan O'Brien.
Oh my gosh.
Look at that.
Not really.
Look at that jaw, though. It's a compliment, I'd say.
Yeah, for him.
For who? Conan or that guy?
No, for that guy.
Oh, I thought you were kind of being sarcastic. Like, geez, you got something against Conan O'Brien?
No, Conan's better looking than that guy.
I was gonna say, if we ever,
He's got amazing hair.
if I ever get famous to go on his show, I'm gonna tell him, hey, I was gonna say, apparently my wife's got something against you.
No, I got something for him. That sounds bad. Never mind.
Jeez.
I'm just gonna stop. I might. Okay, whatever. Back to the movie. Where's Mama? Mama G?
Mama G. Yeah, she would be Mama G. That's a heavy duty worship.
Wow, that's some pretty bad stock footage right there.
Well, you work with what you got. Damn. Again, it just makes you like think about like for any living thing that could withstand
Yeah.
artillery fire from them. I mean, look at those things when they go off. You realize how powerful those guns are.
Then again, I'm sure a lot of them miss because it's like water and
Yeah, but still, just getting hit by one
Well,
of those
yeah.
alone, the fact doesn't kill you.
maybe it's just like a big jacuzzi to her. She's like, ooh, spa day before I pick up my kid.
I love how you're
She's like, where do I get the cucumber slices?
you're taking away a lot of different elements from this movie than I ever did.
You know what? Maybe Mama just wanted a spa day. It's like a bath bomb. Maybe she went to Lush.
To what?
Lush. It's a makeup store or something, or bath store.
Well, that explains why I don't know what the hell that is.
Yeah, I've never been there. I just know everyone
Lush.
posts their like bath bombs on Instagram and like, look, I spent a bunch of money.
Why are
on
these
this.
guys not wearing shirts? Is Gorgo like the spokesperson for Lush?
Maybe.
They actually did a few comics after this of Gorgo.
Did they really?
Yep, and it was Gorgo and his mom going on like adventures and fighting
Spa
other
day?
monsters. No, not going to spa day.
You're right. They did that already. Well, at least Mom did.
Sector 28.
Wow, that's an annoying alarm. Whalp.
Makes me think of Varen a little bit here. The way she's kind of like dodging the military a little bit, I would say. Mm-hmm. Some proper motherfuckers standing behind me. I'm coming to get you. I love the backdrop. That's like a matte painting. Mm-hmm. But I love how it's like the red sky.
I like how those guys are just looking over like, huh. They're not like, ah! Not that alarmed.
Now, it's interesting. Obviously, when on these commentaries, when we do Japanese, we do the original language versions of these films. Yeah. So with the Japanese films, we've been doing the Japanese edits, or the Japanese cuts, the original cuts. And in Godzilla, in the American cut, which is Godzilla King of the Monsters, the original one, which came out in 1956, they added Raymond Burr as an American reporter in the film. And if that reporter you see there kind of, commentating on that you're going to see during the London attack, I think it's very much supposed to be in the vein of that character, which, unless you watch the American cut of that film, you're not going to see. Mm-hmm. Yeah, get behind the sandbags. That'll
I like
help.
how their answer is to literally fucking set fire to the entire bay, killing all of the life in it. Like, really, guys? That was your answer?
Well, I think they're more afraid of it killing all the life in the city. That guy's face.
I know. Poor Mama G. She was like, no, this jacuzzi's too hot. Turn down the heat.
Tanks? Yeah, we got that.
That guy just touched that guy's butt. It's like, there you go. Slap. That's my good luck ass slap.
That's important. I like how they did address the use of atomic and nuclear weapons. So they were like, because again, that is kind of the obvious thing. Well, should we try that? And they're like, nah. I like still hear, even in a Western film, nuclear weapons are, viewed with a degree of, just apprehension.
Yeah.
It seems like that's the sentiment that was shared, East and West, Get some men up there.
Do I have to go? Do any of us have to go? Didn't you catch the bay on fire?
You say go? I was like, go to your homes. No, I think you should. That poor doll.
I know.
I wish I would have ADR like a blood curdling scream from the doll.
Jesus.
This whole sequence kind of reminds me a little bit of the Return of Godzilla from 1984, which we'll get to when we get to the 80s. But kind of when they were keeping Godzilla like in, trying to do like a defense like at him when he was in Tokyo Bay.
So is the bay not on fire anymore?
I guess not.
So was there a point of catching the bay on fire and killing all life in it? Probably.
Yeah, it's interesting. Gorgo, the suit doesn't have a lot of like flexibility in the upper body.
Yeah.
Which is funny because it seems like it was kind of the opposite. There was more. Goes London Bridge.
London Bridge is falling.
I knew that was coming. It's interesting too because again we're so used to at this point seeing like Tokyo Tower, things like that. So it's kind of now interesting to see like a
new landmark.
Yeah, like
those guys. Jesus Christ! It's like they were holding hands, like I will go down with this bridge.
It's just interesting, like a
Fuck
famous
this piece of bridge. Oh, those guys.
It's awesome. But no, it's interesting to see like Western landmarks being destroyed now.
Yeah.
I know there's some people I've heard that said that this film doesn't constitute as a kaiju film because it doesn't take place in Japan, that for a film to be a kaiju film, it has to be a giant monster film. And I don't know. That is one thing.
It's a little elitist.
Well, it's not even elitist because it's usually always like, white guys who say that. And I'm just kind of like, no, a kaiju film is a giant monster. That's what a kaiju is.
It's literally what it means.
Yeah, that's some kind of like no. I mean,
well, I guess technically it's Kaiju.
But yeah, but I'm just saying. Look at this movie, and I'm like, okay, look at all this stuff. I'm like, where else are you gonna stick this? Like, if you literally just made this Japan as opposed to London,
then it would suddenly qualify.
And I'm like, I'm sorry, I really don't give a damn about the real estate, I'm just...
And again, it's like you said, it is interesting to see like another version or another take on the genre.
Like a Western,
like a Western one.
And I think also, too, it makes it a genre and not just a Japanese thing, which unfortunately for some people it can turn them off, or it can kind of feel like, well, it's not meant for me then, even though I'm kind of like, well, it doesn't matter where a movie's from. It's... to me, it's about, if you like the movie, who cares where you're from and where it's from. But again, it just shows you, a kaiju film can be anywhere. Mm-hmm. It can take place anywhere. That's a cool shot right there. I love that. Like the red smoke and behind it. And oh. Boom. Looks like Gorgo's always trying to do a high five. Oh.
That sucks. Where's my baby?
Composite that interestingly. I mean, again, they don't really match, but it's again...
Ironically, all the stuff they've composited so far, though, like the proportions are good. Because in some of the old Godzilla movies, and even some of the new, like not newer, but like the 80s and 90s, sometimes like it's not
proportioned
in perspective or proportion.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's like, whoa, he should be in a mountain right now or something like that.
Yeah, when they'll do shots of him behind a mountain, and it's literally like you just see his like head and neck above the mountain line, even though the mountain
unless he's like lying on his belly. Hey guys, just sunbathing. But yeah, no, in terms of that, they've been doing a really good job for this.
Well, again, that's what I'm saying. This film definitely, you can see it was a kind of a big budget, movie. There was a lot of attention to detail. Mm-hmm. You can definitely see that this wasn't just a cash grab. These are people who took this genre seriously and really wanted to do their own take on it. Really try to make a Western kaiju film that could stand, in the same
and again, the miniature work is really
movie.
Good in this too.
Yeah. I definitely feel it pushed what was possible for these movies, and really, and I think really brought even more of an interest to them in the West.
Yeah. Do I have to? I don't know if I want to go towards the monster.
What's the worst that could happen? Yeah, I love the color palette in this movie. The red smoke, all the
Yeah.
It gives it kind of a more nightmarish feel.
Mm-hmm. And that kid's just like hanging out.
Yeah, no, all these perspective shots are done very well.
Mm-hmm.
Just the ground shot you just saw, like even stuff like this. I mean, obviously, again, the way they composite it all in. I mean,
well, even like, I don't know, it's just all done pretty well.
And I like you're seeing the direct toll on the people. You're seeing people die. Like,
yeah.
You're seeing people
get crushed.
And I feel like in a few of the early Godzilla films, you see that, and then later on, that kind of goes away. You know, the city just comes to be like this.
That's because Japan's so efficient, everyone's evacuated in time.
That is true. These people would probably be all gone by now.
Yikes.
Oh, Trey's fine. Why are they parkouring down the steps? I love the Dutch angles there they use. Oh.
Do you see that guy get crushed in a building?
Yeah, if you look at this film, it is...
Is that the same guy?
Yep. Did he just throw her out the window?
Jesus Christ.
Again, this movie's brutal on the... I think it does a good job of showing what happens when you have
the mass panic.
Yeah, and just the people dying. Like, these things are stomping through a city. People are going to die. Like, I mean, these things are literally
that guy getting crushed,
walking through buildings.
I don't know if I'd go underground. Like, what if he walks over that ground and then it collapses? That's like the work hours trying to get on a subway in Tokyo. That's what that looks like.
A lot more efficient, though.
I know. Womp womp. Now y'all buried. Sucks to be them, huh?
I know, right?
Where did all that water come from?
Apart from the bay.
Yeah. It was just sudden.
We'll be alright. What about this? Do you classify as alright?
In a tunnel that's getting flooded. I just don't know about that.
Yeah. I love those double-decker buses.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's cool right there.
Yeah.
That's kind of like your classic Tokyo shot when you get a lot of the Tokyo landmarks and you see like Godzilla or like stomping. That shot, that's so distinctly London.
I like that last shot, was just the shot we saw before, but flipped, by the way.
Yeah.
Because you saw the sign and it was backwards.
It's just so cool to see that shot. Like, it's just, there you go. Yeah. This is a Western kaiju movie. You know, you see that and it's...
He's like, fuck my son. Mama G's in the house.
Isn't it every mother's dream to see their son's name in lights? There's too much...
There's debris and, destruction all around me, but I'm still going to report.
There's too much compositing happening around me. I can't see anything.
So I feel like they have a little bit of a Prometheus syndrome in this, where they're just running in a straight line where he's walking. Like, go to the side streets. He's not going that way. She. Sorry, I forgot. Mama G.
But no, yeah, I do. I do like how this film really shows like the death toll and just how bad it is. Because think about it. When you have to kind of do the cleanup in the city, first of all, just there's all the property damage. But think how many people are buried and crushed under all that debris and like.
It's rough.
Yeah, it's... And it's funny, for a film that's not in black and white, it does have a very kind of dark, grim look to it, you know?
Yeah.
And I think it's a good use of colors and shadow. Like, again, I like sometimes how they almost use like kind of blue light to kind of highlight her against the backdrop of red.
Yeah.
Oh, you always have to have one of these guys in all these kinds of movies.
I know.
I remember even as a kid, I loved this shot. That's like there. That's like, shut up. Again, using the whole electric thing. Same as God. Obviously, with Godzilla, it didn't work, but...
Yeah.
But no, it is, again, I would have liked to have seen more Western kaiju film, but then again, you know, they were exporting Godzilla films and other, like,
Well,
you
at
know...
that point, Godzilla was kind of a
mean,
known name, so to speak.
Yeah, even though he still wasn't super popular at this point, because
yeah.
we've yet to have... Godzilla's yet to return to cinema since Godzilla Raids Again. So we haven't seen him come back yet. We'll see him very soon. So again, do they... First of all, how does he keep getting around?
I know.
Like, he's just like...
He's avoiding the crowds magically. Using his, you know, reporter powers.
Using his compositing abilities. Obviously, the only thing kind of sucks here is that when you see the plane fire, it's daytime.
Yeah. I was thinking that, but maybe they're just shooting from really far away. No, I don't know.
You can see the shadow there at the
yeah.
on the back. But I'm like, okay, do they build those big, like...
I know.
It's kind of the same thing as with Godzilla. It's like, how the hell did you get all that built up?
I mean, it looks like they use cranes and wrap the wires around the cranes.
Oh, that
so
is
that
true.
makes a
Okay,
little more
yeah.
sense
That
than
is
Godzilla's, you know, perfectly made towers that took no time at all.
Yeah. I guess
But
you're right.
still.
This is a bit of a...
Mama, baby, Mama Juice here. Dorkin. No, that guy's toast. That guy's toast. Yeah, but I wouldn't be jumping over those wires at, what, 2 million volts or whatever they said?
I don't know if they'd still be active, though.
Isn't it like if you see a loose phone line or whatever and you're not supposed to go near it 'cause it could be electrical, or not phone line. Electrical line. So tiny. Come here, baby.
And I like how they showed the perspective, just how small Because technically that's Gorgo, the little one.
Yeah.
And funny, just all of this could have been
Even
avoided.
though there, it's like the perspective's not the same.
Well, yeah. Again, although I do think the baby is supposed to be way more in the foreground.
Oh, yeah. Did you have fun at daycare?
I know, right?
Let's go home. Mama had a fun spa day.
I do like how they kind of leave it off at like, basic report being saying, well, mankind needs to basically check themselves. So it's kind of a nice
Check
thing.
yourselves before you wreck yourselves.
Yeah, that too. Although I'm pretty sure they got wrecked pretty well. But again, it's kind of a nice end. It's not a super dark ending.
It was filmed at British Studios, apparently.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's kind of a positive. It's kind of strange that Gorgo just destroyed or Gorgo's mom just destroyed most of London. But it's kind of showing you that it's something so simple end up causing so much damage. But if all we would have done is just left Gorgo alone, none of this would have happened.
Don't be greedy.
Yeah, basically. It's kind of like respect the natural world. It's a hard-learned lesson. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
Peace.